No, you do not want me behind you. I will photobomb the whole thing.
Okay, welcome everybody. This is our second solo satsang. We had a very successful first one with Leonard, who's here. And now we have the amazing Leán Baker with us. And I just want to tell you a little bit about a satsang. It's sat and sang are two separate words. Sat means gathering, and sang is a group of people and like-minded people. And it's around conversations, and it's generally known to be around a guru or someone who is an expert in the field. And so we have Leán over here that's going to do that, and us like-minded soul. And the point of the satsang is to start the conversation, sometimes about difficult conversations, personal conversations, and just bringing some light into it, some life into it, and seeing that we're all the same. And if we're not the same, oh, what's this opinion? What's that opinion? So we're very excited about this. Leán and I met at a Easter retreat, and I was doing my morning meditation still and in the shala, and there was Leán. She was like, oh. She said, why is she orgasming? But there's no one with her, all by herself. What is going on here? Like, what is this phenomenon? Later on, we walked through the forest, and I was like, tell me what you were doing that looked like a lot of fun, and you were all by yourself, and you were clothed, you weren't touching yourself, and we were all around you. I was like, how do you have the confidence for this? So Leán's going to speak into it tonight, and yeah, so enjoy. And thank you all for joining. I'll be on the Zoom link. If there's any poignant questions, I will ask Leán to answer them. But yeah, I think we're going to be focusing mainly on the Q&A around here. But I'll keep the Zoom link open.
Okay, cool.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks. Thanks, Simona, and thank you so much for creating this gathering and bringing everyone together. So, what I'm showing here is what Simona just described, me having orgasms all by myself in quite an exhibitionistic way, actually. It's YouTube clips that I put up. Because I have this message of, full body orgasms, bliss, the awakening of chi in the body. And I feel that so many people speak about this like Kundalini awakening, full body orgasms. People are always speaking about it. But through artistic expression, I feel I want to show it. Like we speak about something and like, but what is it? What does it look like? Because there's so much mystery about it. And my aim is to demystify the energy orgasm, basically. And I teach energy orgasms. This is what I do. I work with one-on-one clients, and I also do workshops.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so it's recording. Thank you. Just put the sound down your computer. Okay. So I think you could just stop this so I can pull my focus on you guys. Put all of this off. Okay, there we go. It's finished. Right. Okay. So welcome everyone to this talk on energy orgasms, full body orgasms. I think it's a very, some people know exactly what I'm talking about when I say full body orgasms, and some people are like, this must be a joke. What are energy orgasms, and what is this energy that you're talking about? So I'm going to take you on a little journey tonight. We're first going to talk about like what are energy orgasms. So let's decide what exactly, like what does this term mean, and then how can you start finding it in your body? How do you start feeling it? And then how do you nurture it and you live with it and grow it? And then how do you move it with a partner? And I've got these specific 4 categories because this is something we've just had in an online course, where I took people on a 15-day journey, and we went through these processes with the body. Okay. And then, so I'll just give you a bit of an introduction, and then you can ask some questions. Okay. Okay, I think let me start by giving you a bit of background of why I am having these orgasms, or how it happened, like my story, what happened for me. 3 years ago, in 2018, I had this sexual awakening where suddenly I started feeling like these full body orgasms. But before that, I was always a very sexual being. I was sensual, I was sexual, I like sex. I used to have sex every day, I used to have orgasms, always good in my mind. I was like sorted. And then in my 40s, I started pulling away from sex a little bit. I started like slowing down, not so much in the mood, closing myself off. And in this process, I was starting to feel that I'm actually closing myself off to life. I could feel this like physical contraction was like a contraction to life in general. And then, yeah, changed a lot of things in my life. And then realized like I want to pay attention to this sexuality. And I felt that if I open my sexuality, I would be making love to life again. I wanted to be open. I actually used the words, I want to fuck life, but I meant it in a way of like, I want to make love to life. I want things to come in. I want to feel them. I want to absorb them. I want to have a sexual life. And then I went for Tantra training. I read books. I had one-on-one Tantra sessions with a guy. It was fantastic. But I kept feeling like I'm supposed to arrive somewhere and I'm not sure where. Something's supposed to happen and I don't know what's supposed to be happening to me. It was like this mystery, and everything was always explained as, this is a mystery. This is a mystery. I was like, oh my God, I know, I'm having lots of lovers, I'm having lots of sex, but there's something that I think must still happen and I don't know what it is. And I think I do have the privilege of, I've been in my body my whole life. I'm a dancer, I was a professional dancer, I'm a choreographer, I'm a performance artist. I'm a voice movement therapy practitioner that works with the body, the voice, the emotions. So I'm so in my body. I'm so with my body. And I think that helped me a lot. And I remember the first energy orgasm I had. I was on the beach and I'd done this like meditation, like a movement meditation. And I wanted to get back into the car, and something said to me, just sit down on the rock before you go back in the car. And I sat down. And as I sat there, there was a softness in my heart, like a physical softness here. And it's going to happen to me now. And as I was looking at the ocean, I started feeling the ocean in my body. I started like having like body orgasms. And as it was happening, everything just became more and more beautiful. Oh, I just felt that. And then just the curve of the horizon, oh my God, the color of the sea, the little sparkles, and then the rocks, and the wetness on the rocks, and the color of the sand and the wetness of the sand, and then this blue sky. And the more I felt, the more I started noticing life just brightened up. I'm having body orgasms here, and everything is just becoming more and more beautiful. And I think some people know what I'm talking about. And I had to like shut this down. I thought, oh, I'm going to explode. If I let go now, I'm going to explode. I'm going to experience such beauty. I'm going to explode. Yeah, so increasingly that's become more and more, when I'm out in nature, heart orgasms, the inside of my feet were like alive, and I could feel myself inside my body, and it would just crawl up the inside of my body. This feeling of absolute bliss just started crawling up my legs, my knees, my thighs, and everywhere it moved, I would just orgasm all the time. Explosions of like bliss, 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 bliss. And this lover that I was with then would just stroke his hands over my body, and I would just orgasm all the time. It was like, everywhere you're touching me, I'm having orgasms. And it would go up my fingers, at the top of my head, and eventually stroking up and down, feeling all this energy. It would just wave through my body like a snake or like water. And that's why I had that video there, to demonstrate what it feels like. It feels like, it's like water. It feels like light. It's amazing, yeah. So that's my story. And then other than that, my whole vagina also woke up, but that's like, I think it's because of all this energy that it woke up. The vagina also just woke up big time. But that's a whole other chapter. It's also very empowering. So, yeah, so these energy orgasms, and when I started feeling them, then I realized, okay, this is what they're talking about. This is what they're talking about, what I have been looking for. I suddenly realized this is it. This is that thing, that mystery that I was missing. I just knew these full body orgasms, energy orgasms, that's it. So, what are they? What are they, and what do they feel like? Is there anybody in the audience that wants to give me a description or knows what I'm talking about and wants to say like what this would feel like? No. Okay, so I'm the exhibitionist. So what
the
did
universe,
you, huh?
Can I say that?
Yes, you can.
It's like almost like if just something popped in my head. I was like, just feel the universe inside you, and all the stars and explosions and the stars there, but that energy that's there almost feels in your body. That experience like that, felt as if all that outside stuff is actually inside me. It's not vibrating.
Yeah. Feels like the universe is inside you, everything's vibrating in you. And I ask a lot of people what it feels like to them, and everybody's got the same way of describing it. So it feels so good. It feels so good. And the way I describe it is it feels like a ball of light or a ball of joy. And it travels through your body. In the past, I thought, okay, a full body orgasm would probably be like the traditional, like it would be for me like a clitoral orgasm, but then it just spreads into your whole body. But I find that a full body orgasm is like, it's like a ball of light that just moves through the body, and it can move any way. It like plays in the body like a searchlight almost. It's always moving. It's this intense joy, bliss. It's so clear. It's so pure. It's like a spiritual light, but it's also sexual. It's like super yummy sexual, but it's also spiritual, and it moves, and wherever it moves, it like washes, it like clears, washes, it nourishes, it's amazing. And you can feel it in different levels of intensity, just like slightly or a lot, or surrender more and more into the state that if you surrender more and more into the state, it can actually become quite shamanic, because you surrender so much out of the mind. You surrender into this like feeling space where you pure bliss, no thought, pure bliss. And in that moment when you feel this, you can feel your connection with the universal life force. And that's what you're saying, Leán, that you feel the universe within. And I think that's the spiritual side, even though it is also really sexual. And another way that I describe it is we call sexual energy life force energy. Have you ever heard this term, life force energy? So in the beginning, when I started my Tantra page, like Tantra massages, I wrote, sexual energy is life force energy. And I just wrote this sentence and it just looked nice. And I put it down there. And I've come to know that, it is life force energy. So it's spring at the moment. And have you noticed the branches are like budding? There's like life wanting to pop out. It wants to live. That life, that's life force. There's that intelligence of life. It's life force. So every person or every living thing has life force. A moving thing has life force. I have life inside me because I'm alive. I'm not plugged into anything. I have there's life going on here. And so I have each one of you. And that is our life force. We all have it. And I think this energy orgasm, or I know this energy orgasm chi movement it's you realizing your life force. It's you sinking back into feeling your own life inside yourself. And then when you start feeling your own life inside yourself, you know that it's connected to everything else. So when I'm doing this, what I just did now, I didn't do it, it happened. That was to me like a little orgasm. So this, that was like a little orgasm just wobbling through my body. That's me just connecting to that feeling of joy and stuff. Just wobbles. So this life force energy, the full body orgasm, is a very subtle thing. It's very gentle. Some people struggle to find their orgasm, their sexual orgasm, and we try harder and harder, and we go for it more and more extreme to get to that orgasm. But this works the other way. This is like a softening, a gentleness, a feeling of your subtle energies, rather than an overwhelm. So it's a fine tuning, like listening very carefully to something very gentle and subtle. And the more you tune yourself into this subtle energy, the more you get used to feeling it, and the easier it flows. So last week I had a very beautiful client that wanted to work with his energetic body, and he said to me, I don't know about this energy. Like, what is this energy everyone's talking about? It's like very woo-hoo, like your energy. What's this energy stuff? And I said, don't worry, I'll show you what this energy is. So this is something we all have. So just where you're sitting right now, and people on the screen there as well. Where you're sitting right now, just touch your hand. You can touch it with the top of your hand. Just touch the top of your hand and become aware of the sensation on your skin when you touch your hand. Okay, so there's feeling happening there, just on the skin. And you're touching very gently, but your whole focus has gone onto your hand now. Okay. Now you can stop touching your hand and just think about the hand you've just touched. And can you feel like a memory of that touch? There's a residue, there's a memory. You can still feel that. Yeah. And now allow that to drop a little bit deeper into the middle of the palm of your hand. And you can even imagine that there's a little ball of like a little vibration of life going on there in the middle of your hand. Put your focus to it, and then relax your hand even more and see what happens to that feeling in the middle of your palm of your hand when you relax. Does it expand? And then give it a bit of oxygen. Give it a bit of oxygen. And now notice, it doesn't want to move anywhere by itself. Has it moved anywhere else? Maybe to your fingers or your wrist? Okay, that's your energy. You're feeling, you are feeling your own hand inside yourself. You're feeling your energetic body by doing this, by tapping in. So this is what I'm talking about. This is the energy that I'm talking about when I'm talking about this. So you can still feel your hand. You can make it with your imagination. You can make it slide up. You can use your visualization. Make it slide up your arm gently. Past your elbow. The joint of your elbow. Give it some oxygen. Where is it going? What does it feel like? It's incredibly subtle, incredibly subtle. Just give it your attention. And then allow it to drop into your chest cavity. And just feel that, oh, you're softening your chest cavity. Becoming aware of your heart. Feeling a softness around your heart. You can breathe in, and now just feel it tingling at your toes and on your feet, just touching the ground. Feel a slight tingle on your feet, touching the ground. You're aware of the energy in your feet. Again. So that's the energy. Could you feel that energy in your body? It's so subtle. So that's the energy orgasm that I'm speaking about. When you become aware of this subtle body, you feed your attention into that subtle awareness. And then start feeling possibly some pleasure, allowing pleasure to come in. And pleasure is very much relaxed with, linked with relaxation. So to start feeling it, it's this process of becoming incredibly present to your own body, becoming incredibly present to this subtle body and this subtle energy. Becoming aware of like slight movement, of where it could move, allowing movement in the body. There's always a bit of movement happening. To feel it, giving it oxygen usually amplifies it. Oxygen really makes the feeling grow. So when you're making love and you want to work with your energy orgasms, a lot of breathing will naturally come in. And you start feeling. And then relaxation will really help you to feel even more. You have to feel very safe, very relaxed. You have to breathe, and you have to be incredibly present to feel it. And I know a lot of us, when we're making love, I know, imagine all kinds of stuff. since I've being like this, started being like this with myself in my sexuality, I became completely present to myself and stopped this imagining other stuff. I became present with me and with the person that is with me. That makes a big difference. Okay, so that's how to start feeling it. And then how to nurture it is, it becomes a way of life. So you become aware of your subtle energies and you become aware of enjoying life more. Like if you have something to drink right now, anything to drink.
On that note, would anyone like to top up?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I'll come round.
Actually, you're right.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good exercise, yeah, because it's all about like eventually it becomes like, for me, full body orgasms becomes like life orgasms. It's like an orgasmic, it really spills over into the way we experience life, you know, the way we experience being in nature, seeing beautiful things, really feeling those subtle things in your body. So I believe like life wants to burst into us. There's like so much opportunity for incredible beauty all the time, but we somehow protect ourselves, you know, to not experience the fullness of things. We've got shells around ourselves. So even during lovemaking, you know, sometimes you have to do things so hard before you feel anything. So we become very soft, very sensitive. We start feeling more. I always say, how much can you feel? How much can you feel? And then that goes over into the way of living. How much can you taste? How much can you see? How much can you observe? So just whatever you have to drink, just take a sip of it and realize like sometimes we just drink stuff or eat stuff to get it down. But there's a bouquet of an experience. It's a sensual experience. Like smell it. Soften your nose. Soften your palate. Have an openness, a receptivity to feel everything that is there. Take a small sip and be a glutton for the experience. Like, how much can I taste? How many aromas? How many different aromas are there? Different places on the tongue. You know, soften the palate. What's going up into your nose? What can you smell? That's an orgasmic way of living. So this goes into everything, into eating, into drinking, into specifically also being in nature. Yes.
For a long time, there was something flying around.
Oh.
I took care of it. Didn't have an orgasm yet, but
Not yet.
something
Not
to
yet.
look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's how you nurture it. And I just feel like what it means for me in my life once I found this way of being with my sexuality is it means, you know, being sexual and not always chasing for our traditional idea of the orgasm. And for women, it's often a clitoral orgasm. And for men, it's an ejaculation. And to think, you know, we can postpone those. We can postpone the ejaculation, we can postpone the clitoral orgasm, and we can sensitize our whole body, and you just go into an orgasmic state with one another. So lovemaking is just prolonged, like incredibly. It's amazing, and it on a spiritual side, it can be like going to church, because you've got these like waves and waves and waves of bliss going through your body for such a long time. that it's like, it's just so good. Whereas the 11 minutes, then everyone has like one little orgasm and that's it, and to realize, to break away from, we can have these genital orgasms and they're perfect and they're beautiful and they're fantastic and they're welcome. But we can also have orgasms like in our shoulders, in our ribs, in our necks, on our faces, like everywhere. It becomes this amazing dance, and it's like, oh my God, just go into this like sea, this like these waves of bliss with one another, and it can be a thing of this dance without penetration, and the dance can be completely like flippin' orgasmic all the time. You can just have orgasms all the time without even genital stimulation, nothing. Or you can have penetrative sex and still move it through your body. And sometimes it's difficult to do both. Sometimes you go back to just having a good old bang, and that's fantastic. And other times, okay, now let's move it, and that's so great. That you've got variety on your plate, on your move. You can do various things. And I think it's the main thing, is just being able to make love for such a long time. It's amazing. And it does also help for women. Once you started sensitizing your whole body again, like the rest of your body, it's so much easier to then become sensitive inside the vagina again, because then she can also become aware of those subtle energies and start waking up. But it's that fine tuning. And then, moving it with a partner. How to do it with a partner. It sort of ties in with what I just said. Sometimes it is penetrative, sometimes not. And I want to break away from this idea that it's always like this snake that's coiled at the bottom of the spine, and then it goes up and it goes out the top of the head and it connects you with the whole cosmos. So that's one way of working with it, but not the only way. And I don't want to keep it such a strict rule. So I feel the way that one moves it with your partner is you fine tune your own body. So the first thing is to come home to yourself. So you're not dependent on your partner for orgasms anymore. Okay? They're great to have, because then you can have orgasms together, and it is great to have them together, but they're not dependent on your partner, which is fantastic. So everybody is able to step into their own ability of joy. Everyone can take care of themselves, which is fantastic. And then when you meet, obviously you can amplify and complement each other's energy. So the first thing is always to, with your partner, always be home to yourself and switch on yourself. I always say it's like a battery, like an energy cell. You switch on your own ability to feel pleasure. So you are switched on, you are alive, you are like sparkly light, your nerve endings are like firing big time. You get touched, you like have an orgasm. It's fantastic. And if you are in your pleasure and you then touch your partner with your pleasure, they feel that pleasure, because you're not touching the partner with a dead hand. I want to give you pleasure, I want you to do something. You're touching your partner with a switched on body, and it's amazing. They can immediately feel that you're alive, that you're there, that you're present. So always switch yourself on. And then I feel the way that we circulate the energy with a partner is anyway, any place where you touch your partner. So you can almost imagine like a sci-fi movie, like you'll touch a hand and there'll be this like of pleasure, of the hand, and then you connect with the eyes, like, so then there's a circulation between the eyes really connecting and the hand. So it can be anywhere, or it might be stroking the back. It's like, imagine the energy moving there and kissing. So then it's circulating between the mouth and the hand there. So there's no rules. You make the rules as you go. You can put your knees together and there's like that happening. Or a good one is feel an open heart. Put your hearts to each other, or feel an open heart. And here, you can also let yourself off the hook, as it doesn't happen naturally. You have to use your imagination, your wild imagination with this stuff. So if you want to connect through your heart, you have to imagine that you're opening your heart to the other person. You soften, like in your own heart, you soften and you open your heart to your partner, you look them in the eye. And the weird thing is, in your imagination, you'll open your heart, but it does get felt. It does get felt. You start with the imagination and then it gets felt. And it's amazing that sometimes, you'll just be having beautiful, penetrative sex, and then suddenly open your heart, and it is amazing. You can just use your imagination, just suddenly imagine you're opening your heart, and there's like a flood of energy. So this is the energy we're talking about. It's the intention. It just happens. There's like this flood of energy, and the partner feels it, and you feel it. Where the intention goes, or the attention goes, the energy flows. Yeah, so a lot of imagination. There's no specific rules, but yeah, and then you can start playing with other things like hands, eyes, mouth, the knees, the feet together. And there's always like some energy exchange happening. So that to me is like energy orgasms. And you can literally have orgasms like through your heart, like happening like this while you're making love. So that's what I qualify as full body orgasm. So I think I need to also just explain what it looks like. So a full body orgasm, or have I explained that well enough? Huh? A full body orgasm, yeah, it can like happen here. Or like yeah, in your neck, or here in your knee. So it's not your whole body going, but anywhere in the body. And I suppose sometimes it feels like it can just like wave through, but then it'll be like when you imagine that you're releasing it out your fingertips. And again, you could just use your imagination, releasing out your fingertips, or you can imagine you're releasing out the top of your head or the toes. That's again a different feeling happening. Then you can sort of release it like over the globe, or up to the universe, or into the earth. And just your imagination gives an incredible like energy release, like pleasure. Sure, that was like quite a quick mouthful. I find like, now I want to invite you to ask some questions. Yeah, is there anything that you'd like me to add? Like, what would you like me to fill in on? Or what is not clear or still weird?
Questions is good. In the studies of full body orgasm, it's advised to actually take guidance with someone like yourself, or explore on your own. Probably better to work with someone initially.
Sorry, okay, I'll just repeat your question. Is if it's a good idea to have guidance if you want to discover your full body orgasms. I think it is nice to be with someone. Some some teachings say that you do need to get it from a guru, like this energy. But I don't think it is necessary to get it from a guru. But you can, like in my sessions, I'll have one-on-one sessions with people, and just through touch and helping someone spread an awareness, you know, some people would sometimes start feeling it with some guidance, or guidance does help. I must say, I have met quite a few people that just found it on their own, even found it while they were still children, or found it on a plant medicine journey, or some people have read about it, and I heard somebody told me then would masturbate on their on his own. This person told me would masturbate and then imagine spreading this energy up, spreading the energy up, and then until one day he just started feeling it. And he was doing this on his own. It depends, and a lot of people get it while they're on plant medicine journeys, but not everyone. But some do.
Obviously, plant medicine journey also is done often with guidance.
Yeah, with guidance. So guidance does help. I think demystifying, knowing what you're looking for. I think it's really, some people can think it's difficult.
People can think.
And the shocking thing about it is that it is very easy. It is so easy because it is a relaxation. It's a coming home. It's a letting go. It's a being with yourself again. Finding your true essence. So when you start feeling it, you start realizing, so simple. So to find it, I would just advise everyone to always remember, if you're doing something that's difficult, you're not on the right path. You want to be in a space of ease.
Suppose guidance or go to therapists or someone like yourself will have created space for people that can't create this space of peace for themselves at home.
Yeah.
Disconnect from their stressful environment or just find a different space, experiment that.
Yeah.
Because often there's all the people that many of them that I meet, there's no space, there's no safe space for openness and connectivity with oneself in their own.
Yeah, to create a safe space, and you're right. And a safe space would be something like a workshop or a guided group. And I've just guided a group, and people were all expressing exactly what you're saying. Is we gave ourselves the time, we slowed down, and also people that feel it a lot feel, oh, I am in a safe space to express my energy orgasms, because some people feel their energy orgasms and they sorry, and they don't feel they have a safe space to just let it rip, to let it go. Yeah. I'm sorry.
And what about the difference between men and women? Because obviously a woman has a longer orgasm.
Okay, that's a very good question. So what's the difference for men and women? And you're saying because women, I'm just repeating for the Zoom.
Yeah.
Women usually have this longer orgasm. And I hear you, and I feel that is a common misconception that, oh, those lovely women, they're so multi-orgasmic, and aren't we lucky? And then the poor guy, is like, has got this one chance. And he ejaculates and then he falls asleep. And I find a lot of men and so beautifully put their attention. Oh, thanks, Mona. Well, I'm saying a lot of men, most men that I meet, so beautifully put their attention on their partner, allowing their partner to go into this orgasmic state, and giving all their attention and focus onto the partner. So guys, yeah, one of the keys really to start getting your full body orgasm is to work with ejaculation control. So you can learn to separate your ejaculation and your orgasm. Leonard teaches this. Yeah, he teaches ejaculation, specifically the ejaculation control. And by starting to hold that ejaculation, you stay hard for longer, you can make love for longer, but in that time, you can then learn to have your own energy orgasm so you don't miss out on the orgasmic experience. You can be as multi-orgasmic as the woman without having an ejaculation. And I think that's just a big, big, big thing for men to start separating the two and going on an orgasmic journey and yeah, just controlling the ejaculation. And Leonard, do you just want to say something into that?
Yeah, no, I think you explained it. Yeah, I think there's no difference really between men and women. And I think the short answer to it is that men can have that same experience. We often don't because we ejaculate and then the energy goes. But if you can hold the ejaculation and you can breathe the energy up, you can have the same experience as women. It can be as multi-orgasmic.
Yeah. And if you do hold that ejaculation, the woman can be very multi-orgasmic because you long for hard for a very long time for her, you know. So you're just holding space for her to really go for it. And I always want to encourage men also, because I really see this with my male clients, is they're so focused on their partner, but to go into that very risky, vulnerable space of your own pleasure and start exploring your own pleasure in your own orgasmic state, because it is very sexy for us. If you're in the party with us, you're also letting go. If we touch you, you're like super sensitive. If you're orgasmic all the time, it's like, oh my God, this is so good. A delicious orgasmic man.
Yeah, I think another thing that I just want to maybe say is like full body orgasm and energy orgasm, like, needs to be noted that they're very different from a genital orgasm.
Yeah.
It's a a genital orgasm is a part of your body that's being stimulated, it's being rubbed, and then through that rub, there's an explosion. Whereas the energy orgasm is this like extreme, subtle thing that you're allowing to flow over. And that's why we all have bodies. So that's why we can all have these energy orgasms from what I understand. And that's why for men and women, it's no different. Whereas for men and women, there is a penis and a vagina, or a yoni, which operate quite differently. Whereas the energy orgasm is
similar for everyone. Yeah. Energy orgasm. I'm just repeating a little bit of what you say. Energy. Thanks, Simona. You spot on. Yeah. Where the genitals are different, but the body is the same.
It's just
and I'm not frowning on the genitals. We love the genitals. We love the genitals, and they give these fantastic orgasms. But suddenly you realize, it can go into the whole body. But you're right. For a man or for a woman, the same kind of orgasmic experience in the body. Absolutely.
And is it not a factor? I mean, the things is it not a factor of first of all having the capacity to access your energy. So in other words, dropping the walls and the preconceived ideas and everything that's precluding us from accessing your energy.
Yeah.
And then once you've accessed it, how to direct it to where you want it to be.
Okay.
People want a manual, they want guidance. That's why there's religion. You can access energy, and energy is expressed in a fervent expression of religion, for instance. And you talk about the way the body reacts, and you look at exceptionally religious rituals and so on, that the energy is now directed towards worship and something else. But the reaction that you see in the body from religious fever is almost the same thing.
The same thing, yes.
And I think where most people struggle, included, is letting down your walls in order to access your energy. And I think that's what you're looking for guidance, is how do you access your energy?
Yeah.
Tap into you after, as I heard from you, after we were very in touch with your own energy. It just was directed in a particular
Yeah.
way, unbeknown to you,
Yes.
but you can access it. And I think what the guidance that people are looking for is how to bring those walls down. That's why within a contained group,
Yeah.
where you suddenly allowed to feel energetic, to be in touch with yourself, then it's a question of saying, well, how do you direct that? And I think it's that direction of that energy internally, allowing yourself to feel and enjoy and revel in that energy, as opposed to try and let it out externally. I mean, there will be an external expression of it at the end, but it's really accessing that side of yourself.
Can I speak into that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think that really resonates, actually, the accessing part. And I guess maybe I want to tie it into a question at the end around love or self-care or something like that. But the accessing the energy part specifically. I think of, like, while you were speaking, I think of do you guys remember that game that you play at arcades where there's like a snake that pops up and you hit it with a hammer? You guys remember that game?
Oh, yes.
So
It's a crocodile.
there's a crocodile. The tail pops up and so you have to hit it. It's almost like in the body, I think about contracting and releasing. And like, there's so many different ways that there's a contraction. You know, there's muscles contracting, like tension. Sometimes I have tension in my jaw when I'm stressed. Or down the side of my in my hips as well. But like, also there's mental contraction if I'm focusing on something. If I'm irritated by the traffic, or like if I'm judging someone, you know, what they're saying. And I almost feel like that accessing elements is like, instead of hitting the thing that pops up, it's like touching it lightly, like that softness that you talked about, right? Like, and you talked about imagination so much, and I just want to maybe ask you to speak into that.
Into the imagination, okay.
And the softness, and like doing it in a loving way instead of hitting the thing. You know, that it's like moving the focus around the body. I find that, like, if I find a place of tension, and that tension is like that alligator pops up, like, instead of hitting it, which just holds the tension, I need to just, with my imagination, just touch it lightly, and then it like softens and that energy spreads. Something like that.
Do you feel like when you get a block or something?
It's like a block. It's like any holding that I feel in my body or in my mind, you know, if I just like put, not my physical touch, maybe I could, but like if I put my imagination touch onto that space and I just like hold it, just let it and soften, then
I almost hear that instead of contracting, relaxing, is that
Yes, softening.
but looking for moments of contraction in the body, looking in the mind, and then allowing them to, and that creates access. I was inspired by what you were saying, so maybe if you could speak into the imagination and the softness, right, of like allowing those moments of, or whatever comes up for you.
Can I interrupt one? Sorry. I feel like we're missing a very crucial point, that you teach this. Like, it's not a mystery. And
I do.
like, you know, we're
I
making
feel
it
it.
quite mysterious. Like, your course has been incredible at guiding this and answering these questions.
Exactly.
And having specific workshops and activities that you link into each one of these questions that have popped up. So I feel like I'd just like to invite you into, please, saying that you have workshop and guidance for this.
So, you know, to do a one-day workshop is like a crash course. It's just, you get a whole lot of information. You're like, oh, this is what energy orgasms are. So on a course, and with this online course, it's a privilege because I have access to you over 21 days. And in that time, I get to teach your body stuff, which is flipping fantastic. And we often have to build the one concept on the next, on the next, on the next. And, you know, like simple things to just start understanding different ways of feeling, start understanding what it feels like, your inner body, what Eckhart Tolle always speaks about, you know, and every day there's a little exercise. Today we're just feeling in different ways. Today we're just feeling the inner body. And then your nervous system becomes accustomed to feeling these subtle nuances. And then I agree with the contraction and the expansion. You know, you become aware of like certain things you do. Oh, that was a contraction. Oh, that was an expansion. Yeah, you teach the body to start being itself again. I think we're so in our heads. So we think I'm trying to feel something. We're trying to analyze it. But a lot of this stuff needs to be taught on a knowing level, whereas it's taught in the body. And once the body feels it, it knows it. It knows it. And I know, I was thinking this afternoon, I studied voice and movement therapy. And I remember in this therapy, I became so aware of those subtle contractions and those subtle expansions. Like I'd say certain things and I'd realize, oh my God, I've got a contraction in my stomach, contraction around the heart, or when is it expanding? And I agree, the expansion really, the softening. Like if I want to have a nature orgasm, I know there's like things that I must do. So I'll go on the beach, walk on the beach, and then I know I must like breathe, and I know I must soften this part of my heart to start, and then start observing and allowing, and then, you know, it becomes. So yeah, it's that a whole course that we do, that we teach the body bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. So imagination, we're talking about the imagination. A lot of it is using your imagination to direct energy, to direct flow, to direct where it's going. And I want to almost come back to Bradley's question about the intention, like where does it go? Okay, so was that a question about where does it go, or are you saying we are aware that we're moving it somewhere?
No, it wasn't a question. It was once you're in touch or you access the energy, where you direct it to. So I'm saying you have choices.
You have choices.
Choices as to where I can direct it externally. I use religion as an example, or into your daily activities, or into work, or so on.
I see.
Giving yourself the luxury and the opportunity and the privilege of being able to direct it back once you've found it. Self-included, haven't found it. Once you have the privilege of being able to understand how to direct it back into yourself, into your own body, then I think you're heading in the direction that you just explained to us. So we see it and we say, I'm not fucking jealous. Look what she's doing. You know, look what she can do, without having any idea of how to get to where you are.
Yes. And
how to channel, how to access, how to channel.
How to channel and how to access. And you know, sometimes I'm like in this state and I just think what it is asking of me, it's like this energy, it feels like what it's asking of me is to surrender all thought and to surrender only into feeling. And this question comes up, how much can you feel? You just drop out of the mind, you go right into the body. And I think that is the biggest challenge for everyone.
Absolutely. And there must be incremental stages in order to get there, because we're sitting here as white belts and you're like the sixth dan.
Yes, I am.
You know,
No, I think that's
and it's, you know, it's how to get that, you know, starting from.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the other thing. That's what you said. So I'm saying is that it's like a guided journey, you know. So to get from the white belt to the black belt, you know, it's like going to a lot of classes and graduation and stuff. And so my view, is that you can watch loads and loads of YouTube clips and will help, but you really need group or some people or someone to take you
Very
on,
much to your point.
on a journey.
Yeah. So you need that
it's all mind there
guidance.
because you watch the clips and it's in your mind. But if you go on a journey, let's say like a 21-day journey or 50-day journey, whatever it is, you actually take it in a daily step, you know. So no, definitely.
Yeah, daily steps. And I mean, I can give you a book, I can write a book, I can give you the book, and you can read the book, but it's not going to help you. We actually need to sit in the room together, and I am teaching. I always say to myself this, I write this in my diary, I'm teaching from the river. So I feel I'm sitting in the river, I feel the river in me. And then because I'm a dance teacher, choreographer, I go back and I go, okay, what's happening in my body here? How can I translate this to your body? Because it's not a mind thing. It's so, it's like, I need to start making love to my students' bodies or understand where they are, what they're feeling. And I really want to demystify it. And that's why it's good to take it off the pages of a book. And it's experiential. And I also believe it's slightly unique for everyone. Everyone's going to find it in their own way. So I give a whole lot of different things that you can do. And then one day something's just going to click for you.
I guess like I just want to take the moment with you up here to maybe ask a question about your experience, or you know, if I may.
Yeah.
And just picking up on like the trend of where the conversation has been going, like the sort of mechanics and like I've had the opportunity to do a session with Leán, and I could not recommend it more. And I think it's because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you talk, and when I first kind of experienced that gleeful, authentic joy that you have about the work that you're doing, it's like clearly there must be hundreds of people like this, you know, but there, funny enough, just isn't, you know. And I think like it's because like I came away from the session thinking, not that I was being pushed or led, but that there was someone like by my side going like, this is great, like let's go play. Yeah. So yeah. I think just putting that up and saying like, you know, there is no better, and I couldn't recommend the session more. But about self-care, because I you know, having experienced a little bit of what you're talking about, in no way anywhere near, you know, the level, you know, 10th Dan black belts, right, that you're on. I think the contraction is like, I think of it as unhealthy, you know, because I feel in my jaw and I feel in my shoulder that like, if I let it go on, it's going to become something that becomes an injury. Yeah. Like a physical injury, you know, there's this contraction, the stress that I'm holding in the body, and what you're talking about is a way of releasing that stress.
Okay.
And so I just kind of want to ask you to talk about self-care.
Okay, so these blocks, this stresses, would you also say like that would be blocks or?
Yeah, like work and late nights, and I find that like, you know, if I don't look after myself, then I become a bundle of stress, and that what you're talking about, methods you're talking about, is a way of releasing.
Okay, okay, good. Thank you very much for asking that. It's a good question. It's like how it would release our stresses in places where we're holding stuff. You know, it doesn't help for that. So I have this theory, I call it the dance of the 7 veils. Okay. So I have this theory that these orgasms are like we are like the earth. Or like imagine a crust of earth and it's your body, and there's water flowing in it and this energy. And then there's a space where a fountain wells up and the water like pushes out there. Say, for instance, that was like maybe a block here. So I see it like the body has all this energy, and then there's areas where it like wants to push out. These like the resistance wants to push, and I see those as orgasms. I want to chase the life force energy, the orgasmic energy. I want to chase it into those places of feeling, like, and allow that burst to happen. This is how you clear your chakras, so your body. You feel into all these places, and they can all be like this burst. And then the energy flows, and then the energy flows, and you go into another area of your body. Could be the next chakra or another chakra, another area, or an area where you might feel there's a block. And you allow this burst, like, and it's like this water shoots through, and it expresses and it clears that tension. And you can work through your whole body by allowing these bursts of energy to go through. And it's clearing and it's clearing and it's clearing as it's going. And then eventually we have this like incredibly peaceful flow of bliss, like a peaceful flow, harmony. So this life force energy that creates these orgasmic bursts, I find they are healing. They are healing the body of these strains, these stresses, these buildups, and we accumulate these every day, our strains and stresses. So by making love, by moving sexual energy through our body, by having all these like orgasms moving through our body, it's like we're washing our body, washing it, allow these like things to be felt. And sometimes they like, you can cry a bit, like, ah. And sometimes it's like, whoa, you know, it's like heartfelt or difficult, but they want to be felt like in an orgasmic way. Allow this energy. Does it make sense? So I feel it's healing. It bursts through those blocks. It gives that orgasmic energy, and it rejuvenates the body.
Good question, but do you think you're limiting the audience to which you could benefit from what you are talking about by calling it an energy orgasm as opposed to an energy explosion or an energy thing in the body?
Yeah,
because it's happening in different ways.
Yes.
The fact is, when it happens to you, you'll realize what the feeling feels like.
Yes.
And you'll relate it to, to what you relate it to. Because it's almost more than, I think saying the word orgasm is almost boxing it into a particular nuance.
Yes.
It's an energy explosion that's happening, that is crystallizing, that is forming in a way that you will find magnificent.
Yes. And Bradley, thank you so much for raising that question. And I think it's such a valuable question, because in our minds, we think, or if, like in the beginning, if I think back a few years ago, somebody said to me orgasm, I would get like a feeling in my clitoris. And I would think, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. And I was with a client the other day, a woman, and she was like having major body orgasms. And she was saying, what's happening to me? What's happening to me? I want an orgasm. And I'm like, you are having an orgasm. So it's often the semantics that we think, oh, an orgasm. And I mean, my stuff gets censored all the time because I use the word orgasm, it's got this connotation to orgasm. I'm thinking,
so it's the semantics and the pressure associated with certain words.
Yes.
So if you think I have to have an orgasm, the whole question of getting to orgasm and so on is wrapped up in its own things.
Yeah.
Here you want to experience an energy explosion.
Yes.
However that feels.
Yeah.
Now with a partner, I'm thinking, oh no, now I've got to have like energy orgasms, every orgasm. The pressure's on. Which one are we having tonight? Where are we going?
Yes.
So you want,
I know.
in my opinion, take that away. It's an experiential explosion of blissful energy.
I think it's a very good idea to rename it.
Yeah.
To call it something else.
You want to block.
Yes.
You want to block on social media.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's true, because there's such pressure on especially women.
Orgasm. And think,
and when you're putting that beautiful experience that you are sharing with us, that we can all have
Yes.
in a sexual connotation, which, yeah, it can be so many other things
Yes.
without being over. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think, and then you have access to all people that needing that. I'm thinking of people with physical disabilities
Mm.
that
Yeah,
they can really benefit so much from all the connection with sitting in a wheelchair, being limited, things like that, but with physics
Yes.
that can really connect with their energies. And there's a lot of work that has been done for it, and it doesn't really need to be orgasm.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, the chase of the big
The big orgasm.
it's out there, it's commercialized, and it's sex.
Yes.
And I don't see necessarily, you can obviously implement it in your sexual life, but it's not necessarily what you do in sex.
And it is sexual and it feels orgasmic, but yeah, name it something else, because it is extreme bliss and everything, but it just, yeah, naming it orgasm, just many people struggle to orgasm anyway. And now let's rephrase it. Let's say, even if you can feel a subtle feeling of joy in your shoulder right now, that's like, oh my God. And you can start leaning and leaning in more to maybe calling it that subtle feeling of joy. It's much easier to lean into it and allow it to grow until eventually you go, I think I just had a shoulder orgasm, but I didn't start with the word orgasm. We started with the word joy.
Joy and energy and connectivity to oneself. People don't connect to themselves. The
Connectivity of
chakras,
yourself.
as you call them, and to understand the connection of. I find a lot, especially with women, they are out there. They are mothers and they are wives and they are carers and they are workers. And they're not rooted, not connected. They can't even reach clitoral orgasm to talk about anyway. I think it comes from the connectivity.
And then there's such a pressure that this orgasm needs to happen in the genitals, and it becomes traumatized, actually, and pressurized. Whereas that person, that young mother or the overstressed person, would really benefit from connecting with these energy orgasms just because of the nurturing nature of it. And that's where the spiritual part comes in, that it's so nurturing, spiritual, really, for the whole being. What else?
Would you say it's more difficult for men to reach the bliss? We come from such traditional backgrounds and upbringings, and there's so many limitations when you're growing up. And it's only when you become sexually aware that you sort of learn more about your own bodies and start letting go. But there's still so many pressures, especially on men. Women are, I don't know, I think we are more aware of our bodies because we are supposed to be. Do you think it's harder for men to let go and to learn to have these body orgasms?
So I'll just speak from my reference of like my clients that I see, so which is a certain percentage. So I can't say, definitely I've done a research for everyone, but in general, I'm seeing that beautiful and bless their souls, most of my clients come in and say, I always make sure that my woman is sexually pleased and that she must have her orgasm and so on. And I think men have been so bashed they're so careful and so considerate that they are like standing like shining knights in the corner looking out for everyone else, but they can be quite like blocked because of that, because they look after the other person. And I want to encourage men again to drop more and more into their vulnerable leisure side and to show that side, because they're being wrapped over the knuckles for showing their pleasure. They're cautious, they're careful, and we want them to come out and show who they are. You want to feel them.
Very interesting perspective you have. I actually see all the other guys that just care for themselves and don't care for the women.
Oh, really?
Penis and vagina, that's the trick. Penis and vagina, you should be satisfied with that.
Yeah.
And more than actually guys that, and that's also complaint from the women. That's why they don't have sexual pleasure, because the men just think and they just lie there making the noises.
But I think that's lack of training. Lack of, because most people are stuck in this A, B, C thing. A, B, C, you know, that things always take that same route. And one of the things that we do in this training when we start becoming aware of the energy orgasms and the energy body is that whenever you see yourself going down the ABC route, stop yourself. Whenever you see you going into the automatic, the autopilot thing, stop yourself, be authentic. You've got to go back into, and most, I think it's just lack of training and lack of knowledge. And people not aware that the whole body can be orgasmic, so they definitely go for the pussy. I think that's where the orgasm is supposed to happen, where it's really, you want to stimulate the whole body. Yeah. Yes.
Now, you talked about presence.
Yeah, presence.
So this experience happens in presence. It doesn't happen with somewhere else.
Yeah.
And what can happen is you're present for a time, and you drift somewhere else. You know, and then it stops. Literally stops. You come back, and it's there again.
Yeah.
What views on how to remain present for long?
How to keep the mind present, how to keep surrendering to the body, how to stay present. Yeah. And like I said, I know what it used to feel like. You go into sex mode and you start imagining all kinds of things. And especially if you feel like, oh my God, I need to get an orgasm now, you know, and start imagining amazing scenes that you've seen to get that orgasm. But I think it's to drop the goal. Yeah. It's to drop the goal will help you to stay present. And it's actually one of the exercises that we do in the training as well, is as soon as you're going towards a goal, you're not present for the moment. And you're trying all kinds of other tricks to get to the goal of the orgasm. But when you drop the idea of I want an orgasm, so to have full body orgasms, drop the idea of I want an orgasm. Don't want an orgasm. Just want to be present. Just want to allow the moment to orgasm into you. Be present to the moment so that the moment may become fuller and fuller and fuller.
Okay. But my question is slightly different. It's that if you're not trying to have it,
Yes.
now you make time maybe watch a little bit, this, it's work tomorrow, there's stuff going on. It's spin you out of the boat.
Yes.
That side of this.
When the
What
mind.
you said the earlier part, 100%.
Yes.
If you just start going and stuff, and you can
Okay.
off quite easily.
Okay, when the mind drifts, how to bring it back into presence. I would say your breath really helps. If you feel your mind is drifting, to be a bit strict with yourself, number one, and just make a decision. Because I think we can just allow our minds to drift and not do anything about it. So that would mean becoming more conscious or aware. You're just aware of what your mind is doing, really. So be strict on yourself and bring your mind back. And breath would really help you to become present. So you start focusing on breath and feeling what the breath is doing in your body.
So I think
Maybe
as
so.
presence, has a direct correlation to feeling. And feeling has a direct correlation to understanding your energy and what you are feeling. So in other words, if you, and spoke about just feeling something in the shoulder, you cannot not be present if you understand what you're feeling and you delve into that feeling. It's when very much so the question of an end goal and so on, and you're striving towards something. If you are feeling in all the parts along the way, not even to a goal, doesn't necessarily have to be to a goal.
Yes, you can just be
Then
present.
you won't drift off. So you won't be distracted by it, because it has a hell of a lot to do with consciousness of what is happening in the moment, as opposed to the accessing a goal at the end. So you drift off in the day when you're not accessing and you're not conscious of what you want to feel along the journey.
Yes, you're right. I think you just sort of said what I said, and that's perfect. And I think if you start realizing your power, if you start realizing that where your attention goes, the energy flows. And then when you do become present and you become aware of feeling, as you said, you can feel so much more. And you start becoming aware that by putting your attention and your presence in here, the fascination with what you are busy allowing to happen can really pull you even deeper. And, oh my God, I have so much power. I'm making this moment orgasmic. You know, I have the power to make this moment. You can at home tonight, you can sit on the chair and rub your little finger.
Something.
And sorry, and rub your little finger and see how much power you can give your presence, like a super strong meditation, and start feeling more and more and more, and see how much you are capable of creating an incredible amount of, until you might even orgasm in your pinky, in your little finger.
I think it's what you said earlier. It's also got to do with deciding. Like once a human being has made a decision, that's, you can't come back from them. In other words, to decide to give that time to yourself in this direction, or any of these other things, with the energy thing that you played with us earlier.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of us here, and some of us might be a bit shy, whatever it might be. But if you make a decision to follow the person that knows this and is going to show you, I certainly felt some things that it's about you, or you're going to make that call and chop the other thing away and go that direction.
Yeah.
It seems a lot of this stuff is about that, even because a lot of it, you know, society doesn't maybe want us to feel some of these things, express some of these things, etc., etc. Are you going to make a decision to follow these things up, or go half-assed? And if you go half-assed until you know, like we like the idea, or you decide to move into that realm, or whatever. I think that's quite a big thing. Also, what the lady was talking about that night. It's the same.
Yeah,
it's hard also because it's a hard thing to say to someone. It's up to you, which it is.
Whether you're going to become present, whether you're going to feel, and you're going to go along. And there's a risk when you decided, when I said let's do the hand, you could have decided, okay, now I'm going to think about other stuff, this weird stuff like my energy.
Exactly.
Or you could have made yourself incredibly vulnerable because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And it's something that's
it's not always nice.
very personal.
I mean, it's a barrier that you have to go through, and a lot of the time it's not you like, I'm not happy doing this or whatever.
And it's going to be personal. It's personal. Yeah, it's like, and you realize it's you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's sometimes the scary part, is when you start finding you. Yeah, you know.
There's something practical that I'm just dropping in the end of saying that I use or lose, but just practical. I like practical stuff, you know, like make a ritual, you know, like put some music on, some candles, you know, like a ritual for that next hour or two. You know, you were saying, you know, like work the next day, and other stuff happening. So actually, you know, we don't, you know, making rituals, you know, we don't do rituals anymore. So what I mean with the ritual is you actually put the light down a bit, put some candles out, put some music on, I'm just, your question was getting into the body and out of the mind. Is to actually make it a dedicated kind of thing there.
And that's
If that still doesn't help, if I could take some San Pedro or some MDMA or something. Whatever. There are things that can help us to get out of the mind into the body.
What is that? I think you've talked about that quite a lot. Like getting out of the mind into the body. That seems obviously to be the key thing for all this thing. In other words, your mind's not going anywhere. So that's obviously a big transition that we all struggle. Well,
that is one of the biggest transitions, is
Exactly.
to move out of the mind into the body, and it changes everything. It changes the whole game.
Like speaking into like when you do a course, or like when I did Leán's course, when I've done anyone else's course, especially around sexuality, like when we are sexual, we're either with a partner, so your attention is going 50-50 on like your pleasure, their pleasure. When you're doing something that's just you, also like when you're self-pleasuring, it's like honest, most of us are very goal-orientated in our self-pleasure. It's not for self-love, it's for self-gain. So like when you do the courses, you're dedicating an hour to yourself by learning something, and then there's homework. And that's what was the most profound, is in that homework that you, like you did when you closed your eyes and you actually dedicated that time to yourself. You're like, oh my God, I don't actually do this for myself unless someone's told me this is homework. So like we're not accessing it because we're not gifting ourselves that really sacred time, that ritual that Leonard's talking about.
On top of you, like that's you got it group. It's like the mind to the body.
So a lot of stuff we've unlearned.
So that's what,
And the funny thing is, we think sexuality, and we haven't thought of bringing things out in like presence, breath, the inner body, your mind, all those. We haven't even think, because we always just go like sex. Okay, maybe the genitals, but it's the whole being.
Yeah, and use tools. I don't know. Use tools, as you said earlier. I would say people should take plant medicine or drugs or stuff. But I mean, fuck, if anything can help you. So a little bit of San Pedro can drop you in your body. A little bit of mushrooms as part of the ritual of the candles and the lovemaking with your wife.
And we could call those aphrodisiacs.
Yeah, aphrodisiac. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. It can be very tiny, but
yeah.
I would say you don't need it, but fuck if you want to, whatever helps to get in your body.
You got to learn. You got to get.
And then you can transition.
I think there's a big place for that.
Are there certain plant medicines that might be better suited to accessing?
Okay, so always do it. So now we are talking about plant medicine.
Sorry.
Again. And it does have play a big part. And I feel a lot of us, we're all teaching about sexuality. We're also in touch. And when is anyone going to mention the plant medicine thing? Sometimes, and it just helps to drop you out of the mind, just helps you to relax a bit, just helps you to go into the body. Not to say that everyone should do it, and some people really are accessing their energy through yoga, movement, breath, meditation, and some people chill during a psilocybin. I know a lot of people say psilocybin, and then they have their whole Kundalini awakening, but there's no guarantee, there's no, or even cannabis, but always do it within a ritual. And it is, I find it's very potent to move eros with plant medicine, and it takes the whole journey on an incredibly beautiful avenue. If you then decide to go into the body, but I think if you do use plant medicine, and you can use small amounts, set the intention of I want to go into my body. Set the intention, and then consciously do things like, I wish I can guide you. Do things like, okay, sit, close your eyes, breathe. Feel into your body, become aware of how things feel in your body, become aware of your hips, breathe into them. Dedicate your whole focus to your body. It's an absolute dedication that you go in. And it's actually, wish I can guide you. Guide you there.
Interesting.
Yes, 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 yes. But I would say, yeah, the key is out of mind, in body. And it's a huge surrender to go out of mind. A good question. So what is the question here on Zoom? From Mary.
From Mary, if you just scroll up a little bit.
From Mary.
I
Also
think
need
it's the
to,
question I asked.
I just want to scroll up a bit to see what Mary said. I can't see it.
I'm in my body.
Why?
Good.
Is it easy and why is it so difficult to get it? Is that what she said?
Yeah, it's so easy. And why is it so difficult?
If it's so easy, then why is it so difficult? And I think that's the thing with a lot of these things that we call awakenings. If it's and that's the thing with a lot of these things that we call like awakenings, is like the moment you realize, you go, oh my God, that was like so crazy easy. Like, and we tend to think like, oh, this is this dogma and it's going to be hard and I'm eventually going to ascend into the next level. But it's
Sorry to interrupt you. Just add another bug to the
sure, just be careful on my wires.
I was just going to say, do you need to? Because it's
Okay,
very
he asked me.
Are they called?
Thanks. Yeah, so it's just so difficult because it's so simple. It's so simple to go in the body. And I think we want to achieve stuff, and this is a thing that we read about and we think about, and we go along the thinking route. And then once you start feeling it, it's like a baby just being in its body, because it's just a being in your body. And a surrender to pleasure. Yeah.
So another question is, as sometimes with difficult orgasms, or genital orgasms, if you have multiple of them, sometimes it can be draining and you have flush of the skin. Does this also happen with energy orgasms, or is it different more to the state of relaxation? And it's different in terms.
I find them quite nourishing, and the more you have, the more nourishing it is. It is like it gives you energy, and you can move them in your body. So it keeps, like, keep imagining water that you wash in different directions in your body into all your body parts, or you can imagine releasing it gently out the top of your head or gently out your fingers. And then some people say to me, but won't you lose it? Where's it going? It can never run out. That would usually just be a sense of release and relief and peace. I would say it's very peaceful. Yeah. But when you start, just start with gentle stuff. Just start with the gentle body and almost start saying, even if you just tickle your arm and it feels really good, you can almost say to yourself, oh my God, I'm having a little orgasm. It feels so good. Like, be so kind to yourself. And just start playing with like the simple things.
It's like those metal things that you scratch your head with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, you can just be kind to yourself. Yes. I don't know, you want to ask it?
Yeah, my question, so we talked a lot about the why, about the how and the what as well. And I think like there's been a really good picture painted of what is energy, explosion, orgasm, have you?
Mm-hmm.
I guess my question is about why.
Why?
Like, why not just walk out the door and, never think about an energy orgasm again?
Why not?
And you know what? For me, I am seeing this as a kind of awakening to life. This is really, so you say it's sexual energy and it's energy orgasm. So let's break away from the word orgasm and rephrase it to joy explosions. You know, to be able to be with your partner for hours.
It's like joie de vivre, the French, even the way of saying it, joy of life.
Joy of life, the joy of
That's what it
the
is.
joy of life, life force in it, the joy of life. So to me, it's like an awakening. So I believe our job on earth is to bring heaven to earth, not to go to heaven, but to bring heaven to earth. And we do that through our experience. And when we start switching ourselves onto the moment and what is at offer, we start living an orgasmic life. We are expanding life, I believe. Like the universal, the consciousness of what's happening on this planet, because we're opening ourselves to bliss. So the one thing is just on a simple level, you can make love with your beautiful loved one for hours and hours on end and be washed in this bliss, and it's fantastic. But the other thing is walking on the beach and allowing life to blossom in its fullest and taking your responsibility for having been born into this life. You have a choice to be a dead thing, a dead, unhappy thing. And life just, I don't know where life is, but it's not happening in you. Or you have the choice to make heaven explode into you, to see the beauty, to feel the magnificence of everything. I'll give you a very simple, it's just a very simple example. So I believe our experiences of this world is important. I believe we matter. I believe you matter. I matter. Everyone matters. What we are experiencing in this world is very important because this is how we create the world. Okay, so I was sitting in the license renewal department the other day, and it was not pleasant. Okay, so everybody, when I say it, you're like,
Such a joyful place.
yeah, that little like beige chair so far apart, we're all sitting there with masks, a really long queue. It's like very unsexy environment. I know I'm gonna have to pay even when I get to the front, the whole thing. So I'm sitting there experiencing all of this. So now that is my reality in that moment. This is what my consciousness is making happen. Okay, and then just for a moment, I thought, okay, let me play a game with myself. So I closed my eyes and I started moving pleasure in my body, my own secret little thing. Like inside of my skin, I just started feeling my feet. Oh, they feel so good. And like, oh, my ankles feel so good. And my knees, and then, my whole groin was like, oh, so delicious. And then up my spine, and then I twirled it around my shoulders, like on the inside of my skin. I was playing with this. Really, I chose pleasure. I was like, pick pleasure off the shelf, and I was like, oh, like again, silently now. And I opened my eyes, and suddenly I was sitting in a beautiful place. The sun was just coming in a certain way, and the air came around it, like hugged me around my shoulders. There was a little bird jumping over there. And then all these lovely souls around me, they were all, I just noticed them all. It was so beautiful. And then I looked at these people and I saw, oh, they're still unhappy. I was like, because we choose to close ourselves off to life. Or you can walk on the beach and you can worry about your finances, or you can walk on the beach and the beach can happen.
Nothing.
Huh?
I think that's the essence of what you say. You
Yes.
have the gift of being your own plant medicine without the plant medicine.
Yeah.
So I think what the reticence and we have been so deconditioned in life to not access what we're supposed to be accessing.
Yes.
That we then and certain things like plant medicine, mushrooms, and so on have been so what's the word, vilified and so on, and because they're actually taking you to where you're supposed to be
In that bliss state.
in that blissful space.
Yes.
If you can do it yourself, and you have that absolute gift to it, so you can walk on the beach, or you can walk on the beach and feel every grain of sand under you. So if you've taken plant medicine, and you get to that state where you're feeling a piece of grass, and it's this blissful state of this blade of grass is incredible.
Yeah.
But we have been deconditioned to move away from that for various societal reasons.
Yes.
Well, let's go, I can't think of a less sexy guy than Eckhart Tolle. That's a lot what he also says, He doesn't talk about body orgasm, but he says exactly, he doesn't phrase it as sexuality, but exactly, he says, almost, you explained about the sun coming.
Yeah, medicine and so on. If you can have it, just experience what you're supposed to experience. To remember. So you've got a reference point to where you should be, where your goal should be, without the plant.
Exactly.
No,
and you can, the plant medicine just reminds you, yes, but you can feel it yourself. And Bradley, this feeling of understanding the magnificence of life. And I had an interview with a woman the other day whose her Kundalini is like a wide awake. And she said she can see the sadness in the world and the tragedy of life, but she has also become aware of the magnificence of life, and it is popping in for her. She's feeling that magnificence. And I believe the access point is, again, we say so simple, it's so physical. You just become aware, you start using your skin as an access point. You go to the beach, you think, okay, I'm supposed to absorb that magnificence. You're going to use your skin and your senses. You become aware first of the wind, the temperature of your wind, and you do this like little physical meditation. Become aware of the wind on your skin, the sun on your skin, and you dedicate all your thought, your attention, your focus to what's happening, the sensuality of it. Become aware of the sand under your feet, and you allow this whole experience to be so physical. And then somehow that magnificence just comes into your whole being without having to think too much about it. It's very experiential.
Again, like you said, it's the body.
It's the body.
It's the body, not the mind. Like you said, it's the body, what's happening in your feet, what your eyes seeing, the smell you see. And why not do we stop that from happening? It's so weird.
And we've stopped that. We've moved out of the body, yes.
What you're saying is hear it all the time. That's how you're going to be operating.
You want to be operating. It's ideal.
There's a book called The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
Yes.
But if you think about the statement, the unbearable lightness of being, to get to that state of the lightness of being in the moment.
And sometimes if you start switching on to, like that, when I first had that nature orgasm, I felt like if I let go now, such magnificence is going to stream in that I will not be able to cope with. And I had to stop. So sometimes I think it's like moments, like little bits by little bits, we get accustomed to this magnificence, and it come in slowly. Because if you realize it in all one go, you'll Thank you, Brian.
And I just want to bring attention to the fact that it's 7 minutes to 8.
Okay.
So I think if maybe it would be a good idea to just let everybody know about the courses that you have available, where they can find you.
All right.
I will be sending everyone this information, but for Zoom people, and then we can continue afterwards. But just because of curfew and if anyone hasn't eaten.
Yes. Okay. So I have several websites. But
you've got a course starting on Monday, next week Monday. I think that's important.
I have a course starting on Monday. Yeah. The course starting on Monday is a guided intensive. It's 15 days. So I want you to commit and walk a journey with me just for 15 days. We do stuff every day. And then like in between there's 5 Zoom calls where I check in and we all meet on the Zoom calls, and then every day you get exercises. And they are designed to speak to your body, to teach your body stuff. So it's experiential. We did the same course a month ago, and the residue is sitting there of last month's course. If you wanted to do the course on your own and not be on the Zoom course and stuff, you can do a self-home study course. That's also there. And then I also have a free course, also on energy orgasms, for people that just want to get to know me. But I feel you all got to know me now, got to understand what how I teach and what my principles are. But the free course is just like really informative, almost like we've been speaking now, and not with so many exercises. I like the guided course because it gives you exercises, and you can find my courses on findyourpleasure.life. I love the name.
Me too.
Findyourpleasure.life. So I've got, and then there's a beautiful penis massage course on there as well. And if you I'll check my email is on there. And if you want one-on-one sessions with me, you can just go to conscioussexuality.net.
We'll put this
So I have to write that down.
in an email.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Do you want to ask anything about the courses? No. Okay. Any last questions? Okay. Yes. Thank you so much for coming. I know it's quite a mysterious topic. It was very brave to come out and stuff. And I wish you all many orgasms. I wish you all an orgasmic life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was great.
Thank you.
And thanks to all the beautiful people on Zoom that have been sitting here very quietly. And thank you so much for being here. Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Hey.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leonard. Thanks. Thank you, Lissel. Thank you, you guys. Thanks for being here.
Okay.